Daniel God is My Judge recently made a YouTube video. I believe it might have even been a video response to somebody. One of the reasons he's on YouTube is to kind of keep himself accountable. And I understand the thinking behind that, because when I used to work out a lot, I would say things on Facebook to, not to brag, but to make myself accountable. Because, if I said it to people out there that I was doing this, well, I want to make sure I do this. And I think that I need to start doing this again. Being inspired by some of these workout videos that George Winkler's been putting out, I started lifting a little bit late. I've started lifting a little bit again. So all I've done is cardio, but I mean, as you can tell in these last few videos, I have let myself go over the last couple of years. And especially since my, first kid was born. I mean, I'm about 60 pounds heavier now than when my daughter was born. So anyway, I've started lifting again. And I'm going to show off a little bit of my workout video. I'm going to show this killer shoulder video that I just did. Yep, my shoulder was sore for a week after that one. Welcome to the Milsurp Mike channel. Today I present my Winchester Model 12 Riot Gun with correct U.S. property stamps and flaming bomb proof marks. Since the price of actual trench guns have exploded in recent years, this World War II vintage Riot Gun is one of the cheapest ways to obtain an actual military shotgun. Although typically viewed as American, the first slide action patent was issued to Alexander Bain of Great Britain in 1854. It was John Moses Browning, working for Winchester, who made the first popular pump-action shotgun with the Winchester 1893. The 1893 was followed up by the 1897. Although there were several improvements, the main improvement was that the 1897 was made to shoot shells using smokeless powder, whereas the 1893 was only strong enough for black powder. Due to the worry about lawsuits, Winchester recalled all the 1893s, offering a brand new 1897 as a replacement. It was said all the 1893s were destroyed by Winchester, so finding one today is quite rare. The 1897 could also take 2 3/4 and 2 5/8 shells. The big weakness of the 1897 was that the breech block leaves the action, requiring some big openings for dirt and muck to get in. John Pedersen and Remington closed all that up and came out with the Remington Model 1910, later shortened to Model 10. I believe Pedersen patented it in 1901, but it took Remington several years to get it out to the market. Winchester seen the writing on the wall and quickly came out with T.C. Johnson's design Model 1912, first in 20 gauge and then 16 and 12 gauge in 1913. All three shotguns I mentioned can be found in many sporting and military configurations. The Model 97 was discontinued in 1957 with a little over 1 million total produced. The Remington Model 10 was discontinued in 1929 with around 275,000 produced, and the Model 12 was discontinued in 1964 with nearly 2 million total produced. Although there was some shotgun use in the Civil War, the effectiveness of the shotgun in wartime was shown in the Philippine insurrection against Moro tribesmen who were either very determined or on certain drugs depending on the historical source you read. This was especially needed since the United States switched from the .45 Long Colt to the .38 Long Colt revolver, and there were many complaints about the lack of stopping power. I did a jug test comparison in a previous video. Link will be at the end of this video. Commercial 1897s were purchased and used to great effect. By the time the United States entered World War I, John J. Pershing remembered this success, and 20-inch barreled 97s, Model 10s, and Model 12s were fitted with a heat shield and bayonet lugs to be used in the trenches. Since paper cartridges did not work well due to the swelling and moisture, brass case shells containing 9 double-aught buck pellets were almost exclusively used during the conflict. These shotguns lack the trigger disconnector, which means you can hold the trigger down and the shotgun would fire every time you pump the action. These were devastating in the trenches, so much so that the Germans even protested, calling the use of the shotgun inhumane, saying any American caught with a shotgun would be executed. The American response was that captured German soldiers with serrated bayonets or flamethrowers would be executed in reprisal. As far as we know, neither side followed through with these executions. Trench guns were also used in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam, mostly Winchester Model 12s. By the 1960s, the Remington 870 had replaced the Model 12 as the standard for the pump-action shotgun, and Winchester discontinued the Model 12 in 1964. Shotguns are still used in warfare to this day. In addition to the trench gun configuration, the Riot Gun configuration, basically a trench gun minus the heat shield and bayonet lug, were used to guard bases, aircraft, ships, and personnel in foreign ports. They are still marked with the U.S. property and flaming bomb proofs, and are basically the cheapest way to obtain a milsurp shotgun. This is what I'm presenting today. The serial number of my Model 12 puts it being made in early 1945, so there is a possibility it could have been used during the Second World War or Korea. These can still be slam-fired, which I did have some fun with. Basically all I had with me that day was birdshot and double-aught buck. Clearing a tube of double-aught buck from 20 yards would be devastating for anything in its path. Even at 50 yards, there's a good chance you're going to get hit. I would not want to be on the receiving end of this, basically being hit with the equivalent of 9 .32 ACP bullets. When it comes to experiencing a riot or trench gun, there are cheaper ways than getting a military original. Many police departments had shotguns and riot configurations on hand, and these, especially Remington 870 models, can be found for a fairly decent price. You can also get a Norinco, which is a Chinese-made copy, of the Winchester 1897 trench gun if you're looking for a decent replica. Now, I'm not sure if you can slam-fire the police guns, and I'm almost 100% sure you cannot slam-fire the replicas. Please be aware of where your elected officials and the groups who claim to represent you stand on the Second Amendment. You just might find the Republican you supported and the NRA stand closer to Feinstein than they do you. Please join the GOA, a no-compromise organization who keeps you informed of what's really going on in regards to the Second Amendment, and more importantly, your state's organizations who do most of the fighting that pertain to you. If you like what you see, please check out my other videos, comment, like, and subscribe. Also, check out my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and who I support on Patreon. Thank you for watching, and as always, have a great day.